Hi, I'm Dr. Sten Ekberg, and I've had lots of people ask about tennis elbow, so I wanted to shed some light on that. Tennis elbow is a very common complaint, and we handle that in our office with great results several times a week. So first of all, what is tennis elbow? So usually it's referred to when it hurts on the outside of the elbow, also known as lateral epicondylitis. That means that there's an inflammation on this piece, which is called the lateral epicondyle. Because the muscles that play in tennis, when you do a backhand, the muscles involved attach out here. So if those muscles aren't working perfectly, then they're going to be tearing and pulling on this attachment, and you get inflammation and you get what's called tennis elbow. But then we want to ask, why doesn't that muscle work properly? And what is needed for it to work properly? So a muscle is what stabilizes any joint. Typically in most joints you have about 90% of the stability from muscles and 10% from ligaments and other structures. So the muscle is crucial, but the muscle is controlled by a signal from the brain. So in order for the brain to know exactly when to send the right signal down to the millisecond, the brain needs lots and lots of information. That information is called proprioception. So the brain receives information from the muscle and the joint, and then the more information and the better that information is, the better the brain can control that muscle and the neuromuscular function, as we call it. So the brain needs to do that down to the millimeter and down to the millisecond. And if that works, then the timing and the pull on that attachment is so precise that we never develop any problems. But if that muscle pulls a little bit off timing or a little too much or not enough, now that joint is unstable and it starts kind of flopping around a little bit. And now it gets irritated, inflamed, and we start developing problems. So then people have various different solutions. So you can put a strap on it. And what the strap does, it stabilizes that tendon attachment a little bit, and it actually increases the proprioception a little bit. So we have less flopping around, if you will, and that can help. But it's not really addressing the source of the problem, because the problem is the brain isn't quite sure what to do with that muscle. You could take ibuprofen, you could take an anti-inflammatory, and that could also help, but it's still not addressing the source of the problem. It's a temporary fix of the inflammation, but next time you go do it, it's going to start all over again. Some people say that it could be due to a pinched nerve. That's a very common idea. But if you have a pinched nerve, then you're typically going to have a different presentation. You're going to have muscle weakness, you're going to have numbness and tingling, and you're going to have a different presentation. And we can check for all those things, so there would be no doubt once we examine what the actual problem is. Some people do massage or physical therapy, and those are actually pretty good ideas, because massage and physical therapy will increase that proprioception so that the brain gets more information. The question is it precise enough to give the brain exactly what it needs? Or does it just increase it generally and kind of get the job done? So we use something called muscle testing and applied kinesiology, and we test all these muscles very, very specifically, and we come with very precise solutions so that we actually address the source of the problem, get the brain the information it needs, and we stabilize that joint almost immediately. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to see if I could answer that. We plan to do more of these videos and try to give people more of the real answers to things going on. So if you have any questions, please let us know. You can email them, you can post them on Facebook, and we'll be more than happy to address them. Thanks so much.